Hi, I'm Lindsay Beck from NDI, and I'm the last NDI speaker today. So today, today I'll be talking about a secured voter outreach effort that we did in Belarus. So just some background in the political situation there. Belarus hasn't had a free or fair election since 1994, which was when Alexander Lukashenko, this gentleman to my left, was first elected president, and shortly thereafter began systematic efforts to dismantle democratic political forces and reinstate an authoritarian government, which is very commonly known as the last dictatorship in Europe. So the aftermath of the December 2010 presidential elections helped to reinforce this moniker. Belarusian authorities violently dispersed thousands of protesters after the election. Political activists, journalists, and even opposition candidates, in some cases, were severely beaten and detained by police. And telecommunication firms closely aligned with the regime very frequently disabled access to Gmail, social media, as well as opposition websites. And they've also been known to intermittently monitor, disable certain telephone numbers, as well as filter SMS. These crackdowns continued in the summer of 2011, where clapping protests and silent protests, which were organized primarily by youth over social media, were also brutally repressed. Over half a dozen of democratic political forces, which NDI was working with in Belarus, recognized the need to regain their lost footing during this time period and to work to reestablish a meaningful dialogue with citizens. So they turned to local grassroots action and participation in local elections as mechanisms to communicate with citizens as well as build long-term support for democratic change. And so NDI sought to address the needs of our democratic partners by developing a secure and usable online supporter management system to build on their existing grassroots efforts. So the development of this system incorporated two distinct but related approaches, the first of which is data security through a system called Tails, as well as development of a secured open source data management system through CiviCRM. So regarding the first approach, securely accessing collected data was a major challenge. A high risk of office raids and confiscation of collected information would have put partners as well as their supporters at high risk if data remained housed inside Belarus. Participants also reported that their computers were repeatedly infected with malware and that they suspected that their email and chat conversations were being tracked and monitored without their knowledge. And so these individuals needed to utilize a secured operating system that would not leave traces of their data on their machine, as well as making sure that any information that they sent would evade any filtering or monitoring techniques. So NDI trained our partners on the use of Tails, which it's a Linux-based live boot operating system that routes all internet traffic through the Tor network, which actually Mina had explained earlier. And it also expunges all user-added data system upon shutdown. So by using Tails, this helped ensure that all participants were practicing by default instead of by memory, good digital security habits, securely deleting sensitive information, visiting websites through an SSL connection, as well as connecting to the internet through an anonymizing proxy. Regarding the second approach, the partners in Belarus used various methods at the national and local level to store and categorize the collected data that they received from partners over several months and in some cases even years. They used paper notes, cell phone lists, as well as Excel spreadsheets. Unfortunately, data was often either too centralized at the national level and thus inaccessible to regional activists, or it was so fragmented at the local level that it couldn't be relinked into a nationwide supporter effort. So NDI developed a customized constituent relationship system, or CRM, which was based on the open source system CiviCRM, to help create an effective national level data management system. Each organization had their own Civi instance, which was developed to meet the unique needs and feedback received from each partner. And these needs were then subdivided into divisions within each party, which with lower level organizers only able to view and modify information for their region. And there were also a number of different roles within the system, with some groups only able to do data entry, some groups only able to just view information, and some groups able to view and update all records. The impetus for this approach is that if any specific account became compromised, an attacker would only be able to see a portion of the data rather than be able to see the entire system. Hosting of each Civi instance was done in coordination with NDI as well as Team Cymru, which is a security auditing firm who helped us to monitor access logs to keep track of any unusual user behavior, as well as be prepared to revoke any compromised user credentials or counteract any efforts that may have taken place to hack into the system. So some outcomes and conclusions from this project. The 8 participating organizations have learned the value of effective data management, creating a detailed detailed record of supporters, which was very helpful because of an absence of voter files, will help greatly improve their ability to conduct outreach in the future. To date, the partners have uploaded over 113,000 contacts into the system. And during the 2013 parliamentary elections, 2 partners actually began utilizing this system to conduct outreach for voters. They've uploaded 3,000 new supporters into the system, and they've also re-engaged over 7,000 supporters. Participating organizations in this project have also begun to train their regional networks on how to utilize the data and how to incorporate this system into their future issue advocacy efforts, as well as preparations for the 2014 local elections and the 2015 presidential elections. So despite efforts by a repressive regime like that in Belarus to diminish the campaigning and outreach efforts of political and social movements, using a combination of secure access and data management tech, these movements can continue to thrive. Thank you.